Hello everyone, I will be showing off today my Eldlich deck in Master Duel. This is my first deck that I built on here, and I have been trying to build a very competitive and well-based version of the deck, even with all the floodgate limitations and the Conquistador too. Um, to start off, we have 2 Eldritch. 3 Eldritch is unnecessary, even with Bestios in the format, because the third Eldritch is almost always a brick. It's never really needed out to get out with the Elixir. Then we have triple Lord of the Heavenly Prison. We play this due to 3 because you never know what you're going to be going up against and what kind of back row removal they will have. And this is also just free advantage when you use it correctly. Like you have this turn 1 and then you set 4. You're good to go. Like this is auto win almost, because you will have your trap cards to protect you, and at the end of it you just plop down a Lord of the Heavenly Prison and you set any one of these cards. Most preferably Extravagance if you need to draw power, Punishment if you need to out something, or Sanguine if you don't have access to your Eldritch. Then we have Double Pot of Duality. You like this card because you're not special summoning much on your own turn, but you also really need to have as much consistency as you want with your other cards, which you don't really get a lot of, like Drain, Gozen, and Rivalry. Then this same applies for Pot of Extravagance. This is purely better than Prosperity because it's straight up Pot of Greed. You do not care about your extra deck, except a couple cards, and that's why you play multiple of them. But Extravagance is just too good to be passed up, because you can just draw this Lord or Lord and Skill Drain, or just some random really cool 2 cards. And even if you draw one cool card and one dud card, it's still a good card that you drew off it. So in very small circumstances do you actually draw 2 duds. An example would be a second Pot of Extravagance with Golden Land forever. Then we have Cursed Outland. This card is not necessary 100% to be played at 3. I feel like at 2 it is perfect, because you already have enough access to your Huaqueros and Conquistadors and even the Golden Land. But this card really comes in clutch when you're going second and you really need access to your Golden Land, to the Eldritch. Because Eldritch going second in your hand is actually pretty good. It allows you to out some negations, it allows you to just put up a really big body on the board with 35, which can be easily destroyed. And so this is a really good way to get into your Eldritch going second, or just any one of your Golden Land pieces if you just don't have them. But you do pay 800 life points and you cannot attack except zombie monsters, but that's not really important, because you are almost always going to be sending this to the graveyard with Eldritch effect on grave, which is also good because it has the effect to send a Golden Land card from your grave to the deck, from the deck to the grave, which you can then activate in the end phase to set your Elixir. Then we have Triple Torrential. This card is absolutely mandatory to be played at 3. This deck does not care if your whole board gets blown away, because you're just going to be rebuilding it back as soon as you can. No problem whatsoever. And your opponent has 4 cards which don't have any protection on them, just some random board building pieces. You just plop down the Torrential and then they start crying. You can feel it when they press the surrender button. Then you have Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched is here because when you're going second and you draw this card, it's beautiful. Even when you're going first and you draw it, you always are going to be able to use it in some kind of way with the Eldritch. And just keeping it in your hand is not bad, because your opponent is most likely not going to be able to kill you off entirely during the battle phase. So when you have this in your hand and you just go Evenly Matched, they start crying a lot. And you still have your Eldritch pieces engraved to bring you back in the game later. Then we have Trap Trick. This card is good because it allows you to grab a hold of any kind of trap that you need. And the trap that you use the most is Punishment, honestly. Because you also might need a Torrential, you might need a Sanguine if you don't have access to one already, you might need Unevenly for God knows what. But yeah, this card is a solid 2-off because at 3 it's not very useful because it's a once per turn card, but it's still very, very important to the game and to the deck itself because it allows you just get so many things you're not able to get when you don't have this card. We are playing only 3 Eldixirs, and that is the Sanguine one, because the White Destiny is fine if you have an Eldlich in hand and you cannot get rid of it, but you will always have a way to get rid of the Eldlich. That is just not a problem at all for this deck. And this is the best Eldixir, because it summons from grave and deck. So if you draw it, it's not the end of the world. You can always just set it and use it then, and that's the idea, I guess. But while in grave, I mean, no, it's just a really good card. Elixir is a mandatory 3 of in every deck that uses Eldritch. The White Destiny is a 1 or 0 of, depending on what you choose. And the Black Elixir, I think it's called. The Elixir of Black Awakening, yeah. This one is not good at all, because it summons an Eldritch to your field, but what of it? You're not going to be using that Eldritch anyways. It's just some random dude to be on your field when you're going first. At least Elixir is a quick play. So you can summon it on your opponent's turn, so you can catch them off guard, or maybe dodge a Bestial or some kind of other banishing effect like Call By. But this card is useless almost, so do not play this card. Just don't. Then we have 2 Punishment. We don't play 3 of this because it is a once per turn. So if you draw multiples, it really sucks. But drawing this card is really nice, especially when you have Trap Trick to make it even more copies if you just need it that much. Because this card, it's either a draw, an interruption, a pop on the field, or a pop when you need it to be. So this card is just always good, in my opinion. Triple Judgment. We play the Triple Judgment because we, again, the same reason for Lord, we don't know what we're up against. Your opponent could be playing some kind of random back row removal, which is just gonna kill you. But Judgment is not a bad card. It is never a bad card to just have on your back row. You can always just use it to destroy something, negate something, which is very, very important to this deck. And you do lose half your life points, but who cares? You're not. If you would not have used this card, you would have died anyways, so it doesn't matter. Solemn Strike to 2. This is not a 3 of because you don't really need 1 of interactions. Like, you don't need just activate strike, negate something and destroy it. You like cards which stop a lot of things at once, like Punishment or Torrential or some other cards. But Solemn Strike is good because it protects you from hand traps if you have set it the turn before, and it's also a summon negation if you really need to negate a summon. And it also negates and destroys, so it's a gamma in its own right. Next we play the 1 Golden Land Forever. This is a searchable counter trap, or searchable judgment if you like, because sometimes the deck just really needs an extra draw or search. And this card is perfect for it, because you almost always have 1 Lord and 1 of your little dudes on the field, and you don't really know what to do with them except maybe use them for a link summon. But you will not always be able to link summon them off because of Punishment, or you've banished them off your Extravagance. So Land Forever is just a really good way of making use of the cards. Then we play the 1 Rivalry. Rivalry is not very good right now, but it definitely comes in clutch against some decks that just have way too many types and can't really keep up, like many combo piles, I suppose. The 1 off Skill Drain. This card is just, it's so sad it's 2-1, but it's really good. This card just does nothing to your deck. You do not care that you're under Skill Drain, except if you want to go for a Gustav Cannon Max or a Juggernaut Lee play. It just doesn't matter. This card is an auto win in almost every situation that you draw it in. We play 2 Summon Limit because we don't really have enough floodgates to play right now. Like, Microcosmos is bad against Eldritch because you banish everything. The Di-Fi is the same reason. Ancient Organism, Eldritch is level 10. And I can't really think of many other really good floodgates to play except Summon Limit. Maybe Tikaboo, but Tikaboo locks out your little dudes, so I don't really like it. We have one Gozen match, because the card is definitely better than Rivalry. Many decks are playing different attributes, but not different types. Like for example, Branded. Yeah, let's say Branded. Branded has a lot of dark monsters, but there are a couple of really pinnacle and important light monsters like Lubellion. So if they go Branded Fusion summon Lubellion, they pay their costs and then you just activate that Gozen match as quick as you can. They will not be able to get out of that situation anytime soon because under Gozen, under Light, they can summon only Queritus and that's just not good enough. Next we have the 3 Quaqueros. I think that 3 Quaqueros is good enough because Conquistador is only a 2 and you really need the extra 1 golden line card so you can just always find off the top of Extravagance or Duality or just draw it by normal means. An Eldlich engine card, because if you don't draw the Eldlich engine, then you're not going to be staying in the game for much longer. The plan of this deck is just survive and whittle down your opponent's resources as quickly and as painstakingly slow as possible. So 3 Quaqueros is the optimal ratio, I think, right now. It's also just a good card to banish cards from your graveyard, non-targeting. So any kind of cards that you like to be banished from the graveyard, this is your go-to guy. Next we have sadly only 2 Conquistadors, just like I said. This card makes the deck. When this card was at 1, the deck just did not have any resources to play with. This card at 1 just said you're not going to be able to play the game as Eldlich because you just don't have the life to be able to play it. Now at 2 it's a bit better, but I don't think the deck is that good for the Conk to not be at 3 because there's Tearlament, Keshtir is coming soon, Labyrinth is running rampant, so yeah, I feel like Conk to 3 is going to be really nice, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Next on to the extra deck we have double Entis. I would play triple, but I don't have a third one. And the Entis is really important for your punishment, because this is, with punishment, it's just pop 2 cards on the field, which is really, really powerful. Next we have Mud Dragon of the Swamp. I don't know why this is here. This is probably just Extravagance fodder. I should probably change it with another copy of Link Spider because this card does nothing. Next we have Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. This card is an Entis for monsters with a delayed effect. You send this card to your graveyard when your punishment just doesn't have any other good targets to send, because this card lets you pop monsters on your turn. And your opponent most likely will just forget that you have this in your graveyard, so this is a really nice card to just have in case something goes wrong. Again, punishment target. Then we have double Garura. This is almost the same reason as Fossil Warrior, but you know your opponent's not going to be able to do anything. Garura is just a free draw 1. And you like drawing in Eldlich. You really love drawing in Eldlich. It just feels nice. So this card is a 2 because I don't like it being banished off of Extravagance. It really hurts. Next we have Wind Pegasus Adagnister. This is almost the same reason as these 2 dudes, but you know your opponent's going to do something that turn, and you just want to be able to have a little bit of protection when your opponent does do it, so that you just shuffle the thing that they destroyed your butt with. Next we have the Super Dreadnought combo. You do this combo when you have 2 Eldlich on the field, one on 35, one on 25, and you attack directly for 5k, for 6k. And then you main phase 2, you plop down this dude and you just burn for the game, because it is exactly 2000 damage. It's so nice. Or if your opponent has a lot of monsters on the field and you just cannot really deal with it, you summon this, burn the damage, then you go for the Juggernaut Leap and you activate its effect. It goes to 6000 attack and it can attack twice. So it's most of the time it's going to be a game closer. And then after that you just plop down the Zeus with two materials, one being the Gustav cannon and one being the Lieb. So yeah, Zeus is also here. He's not that important, but when you make use of him, it's really fun to use it because it's just a really good card and your opponent doesn't expect it. Next, you have Link Spider. This card is pretty important. When you have the Huaquero or Conk on the field and you just have no idea what to do with them, you just summon a Link Spider because God knows why. These are non-effect monsters, and the fact that they're non-effect monsters is just really nice with some interactions like unable to be impermanent, unable to be widow anchored, unable to be, I don't know, something with monster effects. But Link Spider is just really nice to be able to clear the field off of these singular cards which you want to be engraved, so you can recycle them and turn them into elixirs. Next, you got a Sucker. I mean, it's pretty much the same reason, but if you have a Huac and an Eldlich on the field already, and your opponent might as well just summon once or twice, or you just want to draw cards off the Sucker, you can do that. It's not a problem. Savior is the same reason as the two of them, but if you really want to send one of your Eldritch to grave, this is the way to do it. Because Eldritch is just really important to the deck, and if you don't have access to it, then you're gonna be having problems. Next we have Lion of the Light Charmer. It's the same reason, but it is a light, so you can use it under Goza match, which is important. And you can always just steal your opponent's monsters and just do something with it instead. Next we got the Tri-Brigade Arms Bucephalus II. This is a really big dude, which you send off the punishment to just pop a card on the field. But the effect of this card in grave sends a winged beast from the extra deck or deck to the grave. And guess what? Garura is a winged beast. So you never really send Garura from punishment. You'll almost always send the Bucephalus, because that's how you get the draw one with the Garura. Not by sending Garura, but by sending Bucephalus. So yeah, this is the actual, let's say, the train tracks for the train to go onto. And all in all, the deck is really nice, even though we're in this kind of format with Bestials and Banishing. Just drawing one of your floodgates almost always wins the game. Drawing Torrential with any of your Eldritch pieces is just really powerful because your opponent cannot really deal with it that much. And the fact that you have the element of surprise is just, it's really annoying for the opponent. They cannot do anything about the fact that you have 5 trap cards set down and they have no idea what you're playing, what you have for them, and they're just shitting their pants, honestly. I don't know what else to say. But I feel like, sadly, because there is no side deck, well, actually, thank God there's no side deck, because when there's a side deck, your opponent is able to put in all of your back row removal. But in Master Duel, there is no side deck, so they have to main deck it all. So you know what? We are also main decking all of the protection, like Judgments and Lords. There's just no need to really be protected of them, because Judgment is a good card in general, and Lord as well. Lord is just pure advantage and protection on top of it. And I guess that there are people playing Lightning Storm and other fun stuff, but in the end, this deck is really fun. It's fun if you're a sadist, honestly. I just love being able to troll my opponents and have fun with them. But yeah, this is one of the decks of all time. One of the decks of all time. And so that's it, guys. Goodbye.